My name is Antonio Rodriguez. I'm a Senior International Trade Manager with Empire State Development. Empire State Development is New York State's lead economic development agency and promotes a growing state economy through business incentive and job creation, and by supporting diverse local economies across the state through the efficient use of loans, grants, tax credit, real estate development, marketing, and other forms of assistance. Today, I'll be presenting information on grant opportunities available for export promotion through Global New York, a division of Empire State Development. Next slide, please. Global New York's mission is to promote competitiveness and foster economic activity by assisting New York State small and medium-sized businesses to export their products and services globally. Next slide, please. Global New York administers two reimbursable grant programs to support export promotion activities. There's the Federal State Trade Expansion Program, known as STEP, for New York State headquarters companies that are new to export, new to market, and are looking to expand into new markets and engaging in export activities. Then there's the New York State Global New York Grant Fund for New York State companies that are already exporting, or as well for non-for-profit organizations that are providing the training and export assistance to businesses in New York State. Next slide, please. The U.S. Small Business Administration started the STEP grant program as a 3-year pilot back in 2011. And with the Trade Facilitation and Trade Enforcement Act signed into law in 2016, STEP was made a permanent provision of the Small Business Act to make grants available to states. And this way we could, provide grants to businesses for trade promotion activity. Empire State Development is working in partnership with the U.S. Small Business Administration to increase the number of small businesses that begin to export, increase the value of exports for small businesses that currently export, and increase the number of small businesses exploring significant new trade opportunities. The Global New York STEP Grant Program is funded in part through a grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration. Next slide, please. Through the STEP grant, New York State companies may apply for up to $14,000 in grants per program year to help them export. The grant is awarded in the form of reimbursement and is based on 70% of total eligible cost or up to the cap. And this means basically that grantees would be required up to a 30% cash match. In terms of eligible companies that may participate, businesses that operate in New York State to manufacture, assemble, and distribute a product and exportable service in business at least a year and qualify as an eligible small business concern, meeting the SBA size requirement. Importantly, a product or service for export must contain at least 51% U.S. content. Next slide, please. The eligible use of STEP funds. We basically provide allowances for financial assistance award for travel. This would be, for example, to participate in a program trade mission, possibly organized by the U.S. Department of Commerce or our agency, or a vetted non-for-profit organization that may be spearheading travel overseas, again, with the intent of meeting potential buyers or businesses that could, buy or your products or services. Subscription services offered by the U.S. Department of Commerce. As Peter mentioned there's several services that are available to businesses. As an example, the U.S. Gold Key. This is basically an activity we basically receive applications for commonly. There's the export training and workshop. This is, as mentioned earlier, for export readiness. Any training program that could avail companies with knowledge on how to prepare to export is a qualifying activity. International qualified domestic trade show exhibit. So this is sort of the most demanded activity prior to, of course, our pandemic. There has been sort of a switch over to some virtual activities, but we're seeing travel once again initiate. So in terms of international trade shows, as well as qualified domestic trade shows, the STEP grant program is a good opportunity to lessen your investment. Another category of allowed activities is website payment fees and foreign language translation services. So this is important considering here in terms of the audience. Examples of this category may include as in website translation into a foreign language, search engine optimization and localization services, a web store setup and or maintenance cost related for a mobile app integration or creation or update to support businesses in selling their products on e-commerce platforms such as Amazon services, Walmart, Alibaba, Flipkart, and other sites. To begin or refine the ability to receive and or process online payments and process orders, as well as services related to e-commerce cybersecurity to benefit businesses. Translation of marketing media, including audio and video, are also allowed activities. The developing of marketing media, as defined in STEP, is the ability to promote a business's product or service, to strengthen their export sales potential, ability to reach target audiences, and or expand export market opportunities. Marketing media services may be considered as well during a business participation in a trade show. So there may be some like advertising that could be done. And these generally would include like trade event publications, online or digital advertising during a trade event, as well as social media advertising, brochures, table banners, event website advertising, and any digital advertising format of any of the provided examples. We include as well consultancy services. These could be for assistance in developing an export plan or an export compliance plan, which may be necessary as well depending on the product in hand. And lastly on the list here, we have compliance testing. So this would be to assure conformance with a regulatory requirement for a product to enter a specific market. Commonly are like the CE marks for Europe in entry. This is basically an activity as well that's allowed in the STEP grant. Just to give you an idea, as I mentioned, $14,000 is a total fund available per company per funding cycle. Just to give you an idea in terms of the allowances that we provide for the listed activities, for financial assistance or for travel up to $4,000 or 70% of eligible costs, whichever is less. Subscription services to Department of Commerce, that would be $2,000. Again, 70% of costs. We have export training workshops. That's as well a $2,000 category. For international or qualified domestic trade shows, we avail up to $5,000 under the current program. And then for website, foreign language translation services, for developing of marketing media, as well as for compliance testing, each up to $6,000. And then consultancy services, we've limited it at $3,000. So in terms of an application, a company can consider applying for multiple activities with the understanding, again, that basically the maximum allowed grant would be $14,000. And in some perspective, we have that 70% allowance and then the 30% cash match requirement. So just to give you an idea, the $14,000 would require a $20,000 investment on behalf of the company. And 70% of the $20,000, that's the $14,000 that we could avail. Next slide, please. As mentioned before, the STEP grant is funded in part through a grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration. In 2020, New York State received an initial award of $250,000, followed by a $500,000 award in 2021. And this is for the STEP 9 program. Currently, funding for the STEP 9 program has been expended, so we're not accepting any new applications. However, we are in the process of applying for new funding through the Small Business Administration for the STEP 10 grant program, and we should receive an announcement in late September, and we'll make available, if funded, if awarded, we'll have applications available online as of October 1st. Be aware, because of limited funds, the STEP grant program does operate on a first-come, first-served basis until funds are expended. We hope, at least for the next year, we'll have additional funds to support more activities from eligible small business concerns. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the second grant program available through Empire State Development, the Global New York Grant Fund. And here we basically provide grants to help New York State small and medium-sized businesses to increase their sales, and also the opportunity for not-for-profit organizations that work with companies that are engaging in export promotion activities. You know, they're basically funding that are available. Next slide, please. Here, the Global New York Grant Fund is at a higher level in terms of support. The grants range from $7,500 up to $25,000, and we limit that for 2 applications per year. This is based on the state's fiscal year, which operates from April 1st through March 31st. The difference here with the STEP grant, it is a 50-50 cash match. We basically have as well a requirement that your product be a 51% added value here in New York State. And in terms of limitations, you're looking at basically companies with 500 or fewer employees and in business for at least a year. Very similar to STEP, eligible activities may encompass market customization, trade show, trade missions, expert education, product adaptation, and market certification. And for non-for-profit, the range is a bit higher, here from $7,500 up to $100,000. And there's a 25% cash in kind match. I think probably in kind could be even 15% of that 25%. So there's a good opportunity out there as well for non-for-profit organizations that are working with businesses, be it a trade organization, a local economic development organization, or, you know, I think probably a organization basically that is looking to assist companies in these efforts. And I think that concludes my presentation.
And just to highlight for people, there's real money there. There's actually real money. We've had a lot of companies go through programs like the STEP grant, and by state, there's different additional programs, as Antonio was talking about, and it does get reimbursed, and we've seen checks actually come in. So this is not some amorphous idea. This is a first come, first served on a rolling basis program. Simona's going to talk a little bit later around a STEP grant navigator to help you build those applications a little bit easier, and on a national scale, so that it's a little bit, you know, if you're not in New York and you don't have that wonderful cash that Antonio has in his pocket. I think I saw it in his safe right behind him before we had the call. You can definitely check in with Simona, and she'll tell you where the money's hidden elsewhere in the country.